Yeah, but so there's still, I mean, it's crazy too because there's still more happening in court. Like, I mean, everything is still active, even though we're not hearing about it as much anymore. And the people may be fatigued, like we talked about prior to.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and how.
Once the pinnacle of wealth, influence, and power in the entertainment sector, scene Diddy Combs is now in a completely different position. He was the flamboyant tycoon who ruled the red carpet, topped Forbes lists, and threw lavish parties that the A-list elite frequented for decades. However, Diddy is no longer the dominant character clad in expensive outfits and surrounded by luxury. Instead, he is imprisoned in a frigid, windless cell at Brooklyn's notoriously unforgiving Metropolitan Detention Center. Diddy was denied bail, and his decline has shocked the globe, leaving many wondering how the once untouchable guy could have such a sharp decline.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy.
It is almost astounding how much Diddy has changed in the few months he has been incarcerated. Recent court appearances have revealed a man who is hardly recognizable and very different from who he used to be. His once vibrant appearance has been replaced by a thin, pale complexion and progressively gray hair, while observers have remarked his substantial weight loss. Diddy's former appearance as an untouchable, charismatic, and influential figure contrasts sharply with this physical transformation. He now seems to have been deeply impacted by the harsh reality of life behind bars. People are talking about the psychological strain in addition to the physical toll. His usual charm and self-assurance appear to have faded, leaving behind a changed, more vulnerable man.
And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent to proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we can debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent till proven guilty? Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of.
Diddy's time at the Metropolitan Detention Center has been anything but easy. Known for its harsh conditions, violence, and lack of basic comforts, the facility presents a stark contrast to the life of luxury he once knew. Gone are the gourmet meals crafted by private chefs and the nights in sprawling mansions. Instead, his days now follow a strict routine, with simple meals served on plastic trays and an ever-present sense of unease in an unsafe environment. Reports indicate that fear for his safety has driven him to avoid the facility's meals altogether, relying instead on commissary snacks like chips and packaged sweets. The dramatic shift from opulence to survival highlights the jarring reality of his new life behind bars.
Concern, no judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes. And sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle.
The world has been enthralled by Diddy's precipitous decline in popularity, leading to several conjectures on the man behind the headlines. How did someone who appeared to have all he needed get into such a vulnerable position? The explanation is found in a string of personal and legal issues that have dogged him for years, leading to accusations that could now shape his future. The music magnate, who was once praised as a cultural hero and creative businessman, is currently dealing with accusations that could ruin his reputation forever. He has been a target both inside and outside of prison due to the seriousness of these charges and his well-known notoriety.
Money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone.
The way Diddy's story highlights the harsh reality of life in the criminal justice system, especially for someone of his stature, makes it even more captivating. Advocates and previous inmates have characterized the Metropolitan Detention Center, where he is currently being kept, as a site of unrelenting suffering. Scandals have dogged the facility, involving claims of neglect, filthy conditions, and corruption. The change to such an environment has been nothing short of frightening for Diddy, who is used to the best things in life. According to others close to him, he has battled the psychological effects of being isolated from the outside world in addition to the medical ailments.
He could help us craft, he could build a separate jail cell, and we could keep him there. Just interesting to me that they sort of said, nope, you're going to be treated not like everybody else, but a lot like everybody else. Having money doesn't do it. So I wouldn't want to be those judges. There's sort of a no-win situation.
Those who have seen Diddy in recent weeks insist that he is still mentally bright and committed to his defense in spite of the difficulties. Although his legal team has been putting in a lot of effort to get him released, their efforts haven't been effective yet. His bail requests have been routinely denied by judges, who have cited flight risk and witness tampering as reasons. Diddy will therefore probably be in jail until his trial starts, which will put more strain on an already challenging circumstance. The severe conditions in the Metropolitan Detention Center may make it more difficult for him to properly prepare for his case, according to legal experts, adding to his already vulnerable situation.
Anything's possible, right? But now this judge has an even harder time, I think, because the past judge locked him up, didn't let him out, and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens.
What stands out most about Diddy's current situation is the public's reaction to his downfall. Once celebrated as a symbol of success and resilience, he was seen as someone who overcame adversity to become a dominant figure in entertainment. But his arrest and incarceration have shattered that image, leaving many to question whether his achievements were built on a far shakier foundation than they appeared. The stark transformation from an untouchable mogul to an inmate is a sobering reminder of how quickly fortunes can shift, even for those who seem invincible. Adding to the intrigue are the swirling rumors surrounding his time in detention. Reports suggest that Diddy is plagued by paranoia over his safety, fearing that his high-profile status makes him a prime target. Some speculate that his refusal to eat prison meals stems from concerns about being poisoned, though these claims remain unverified. This heightened anxiety underscores the unique challenges faced by someone of his stature in a place like the Metropolitan Detention Center. Unlike most inmates, Diddy's fame and wealth set him apart, making him both a target and a subject of fascination. These factors add yet another layer of complexity to an already grueling and transformative chapter of his life.
Some jails are worse than others, and the problem again is if you move him, why is he getting special treatment? And maybe he's earned special treatment. Maybe what he's done, maybe he's given so much back to his fans and to the world and to charity that maybe there's a way that it plays out in the end. But again, to go into court and say this jail is bad, move him to another jail, is not your first argument.
The stark contrast between Diddy's life now and the one he led a few months ago has also been brought to light by observers. He was spotted playing hacky sack and lounging in the sun in Central Park on a carefree day before to his detention. That carefree picture seems like a faraway memory now. The man who formerly attracted attention with his charm and self-assurance now lives alone and struggles because of his situation. Even his closest friends and family are in disbelief at the drastic change.
The general population, and would he be at risk? Sure, he'd be at risk. There's so many people that have nothing to lose, right? They're going to be in jail the rest of their life. They've got nothing to, they want their 15 minutes of fame. They were friends with Diddy, or they hurt Diddy, or they Diddy, or they did. There's so many, people in jail that this would be their moment. You can't put them there.
As Diddy's saga unfolds, it raises compelling questions about fame, power, and accountability. How does someone who seemingly had it all end up in such a dire situation? What does this experience reveal about society's treatment of high-profile figures who fall from grace? These are questions likely to fuel debates in the months ahead as Diddy's legal battles continue. For now, attention remains firmly fixed on the man who once dominated the music industry, now embroiled in a fight for freedom that could reshape the rest of his life. The reality of Diddy's current existence is a complete reversal of the luxurious, high-profile lifestyle he once epitomized. For decades, he was a symbol of extravagance, reigning as one of the most successful figures in music and entertainment. Today, he is confined to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a facility notorious for its harsh conditions and the emotional toll it exacts on inmates. Since September, this grim setting has defined his life, a far cry from the mansions and red carpets of his past. But what does a day in Diddy's life look like now? How is a man accustomed to opulence and influence adjusting to life in one of the country's toughest detention centers? These are the questions that continue to captivate the public as his story unfolds.
What his team is trying to do is get the public to assume that the government is leaking some of this negative information about him, like that Cassie video. But the reality is, he's got a lot.
Each day at the Metropolitan Detention Center begins early for Diddy, a stark departure from the leisurely mornings he once enjoyed in his sprawling mansions. At 6:00 a.m., the harsh clang of metal doors and the shouts of guards rouse inmates, a jarring contrast to the tranquil mornings he likely spent sipping freshly brewed coffee while overlooking private waterfront views. Now, his mornings are punctuated by the echo of footsteps in cold hallways, the sharp smell of disinfectant, and the sight of peeling paint on the cinder block walls of his cell. Diddy's cell is a far cry from the luxurious accommodations he once called home. Roughly the size of a parking space, it contains a narrow iron bed bolted to the floor with a thin, uncomfortable mattress and a barely functional combination sink toilet unit. Gone are the plush bedding and ambient lighting. In their place is the relentless glare of fluorescent bulbs that never let him forget his reality. Personal space is non-existent, and privacy, a luxury he once took for granted, is now an unattainable dream. With each passing day, the cold, unforgiving walls seem to close in tighter, underscoring the dramatic shift in his life from opulence to survival.
Her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
Breakfast arrives shortly after wake-up, slid through a small slot in the door of Diddy's cell. The meal is simple and unappealing: powdered eggs, a slice of white bread, and a carton of milk. For someone who once dined at five-star restaurants and enjoyed meals prepared by private chefs, the adjustment has been harsh. Unsurprisingly, sources suggest he avoids the prison meals entirely, citing both their poor quality and concerns about potential tampering. Instead, he reportedly relies on commissary items like chips, crackers, and instant noodles. However, even these come with limitations, as inmates face strict spending caps every 2 weeks. For a man who once lived with unlimited resources, the concept of budgeting for basic snacks serves as yet another stark reminder of his drastically altered reality.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Isolation is perhaps taking the heaviest toll on Diddy. He is reportedly being held in the special housing unit or solitary confinement, where inmates are separated from the general population for safety or disciplinary reasons. For Diddy, it's likely a combination of both. His high-profile status makes him a potential target in the general population, where jealousy and resentment can easily escalate into violence. However, solitary confinement comes with its own severe challenges. Inmates in the special housing unit are confined to their cells for 23 hours a day, with only 1 hour allotted for exercise or a shower. That hour is spent in a small, caged area that offers no real sense of freedom, merely a brief change of scenery. The psychological toll of such isolation is well documented, with studies linking prolonged solitary confinement to anxiety, depression, and even hallucinations. For someone like Diddy, who thrived on constant interaction and public attention, the absence of social contact must feel unbearable. Gone are the days of mingling with celebrities, hosting extravagant parties, and commanding the spotlight of millions. Now, his world has narrowed to the confines of 4 barren walls, leaving him little to occupy his mind, but the weight of his circumstances and the uncertainty of what lies ahead.
Real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there.
People close to Diddy maintain that he is dedicated and committed to fighting the accusations against him in spite of these difficulties. He is unable to fully engage in his own case because to the conditions in the Metropolitan Detention Center, despite the diligent efforts of his legal team to prepare his defense. There are few legal resources available to him, and the rigorous regulations of the institution frequently make it difficult for him to communicate with his lawyers. Even seemingly straightforward tasks like going over documents or talking about strategy involve negotiating a convoluted web of red tape and practical challenges.
That he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it, where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on.
The pressure on Diddy continues to mount as his trial approaches, set to begin in May of this year. The stakes are monumental, with his entire legacy hanging in the balance. If convicted, he could face decades behind bars, an unthinkable outcome for someone who once seemed invincible. While he fights to clear his name in court, the verdict in the court of public opinion is already shifting. The allegations against him have ignited widespread controversy, dividing fans between those who remain loyal and those expressing disappointment and disbelief. The public's fascination with Diddy's downfall stems from a staggering contrast between his former life and his current reality. Just months ago, he was living as a billionaire mogul, jet-setting to exclusive events, attending high-profile gatherings, and embodying one of the most powerful personas in the music industry. Today, that life feels like a distant memory, replaced by the grim monotony of prison. The dramatic transformation has left even his most devoted supporters questioning how such a meteoric rise could lead to such a steep fall. For Diddy, the trial represents not just a fight for his freedom, but a battle to salvage a reputation that once seemed untouchable.
Saw the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we...
Rumors and speculation about Diddy's prison experience have only heightened the intrigue surrounding his situation. Reports suggest he has grown increasingly paranoid, consumed by fears for his safety. Allegedly, he worries about potential threats from fellow inmates or even individuals with outside connections. These concerns aren't unfounded, given the Metropolitan Detention Center's infamous reputation for violence and corruption. Former inmates describe it as a volatile environment where anything can happen, and where even the guards can't always be trusted. This pervasive sense of vulnerability starkly contrasts with the confidence and control Diddy once embodied. In his previous life, he was a commanding figure, a power player who seemed untouchable. Now, within the prison walls, that power holds no sway. Here, he is just another inmate, subject to the same rules, restrictions, and uncertainties as everyone else. The experience has reportedly been a humbling one, leaving him struggling to adjust to his harsh new reality. For someone accustomed to holding all the cards, this dramatic shift has been profoundly unsettling.
Significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
Diddy found the holidays, which he would have normally spent with family and friends, especially challenging this year. Because visiting hours are restricted and the already few opportunities for social connection virtually disappeared during the holidays, inmates in solitary confinement frequently experience even greater isolation. Diddy and other criminals in the restricted housing section were apparently left out, underscoring their isolation from the rest of the jail population, while other offenders received little gift bags full of snacks and treats. The contrast must have been particularly sharp for Diddy, who used to celebrate the holidays with lavish parties and presents.
We expected just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next...
As the months wear on, one question lingers. How will Diddy emerge from this ordeal? And what will his life look like afterward? Can he reclaim his status as one of the most influential figures in entertainment? Or has his fall from grace irreversibly changed the way the world perceives him? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The man who entered the Metropolitan Detention Center will not be the same man who walks out. For now, Diddy's focus remains on his legal battle and the fight to regain his freedom. His attorneys continue to challenge the charges against him, while his supporters hold on to hope that he will one day clear his name. However, as he navigates the grim realities of life behind bars, it's evident that the road ahead will be fraught with difficulty. The once unshakable mogul now faces the most significant challenge of his life, one that will test both his resilience and his ability to adapt to a world that no longer bends to his will. Diddy's journey through the legal system has become a spectacle, raising questions about fame, justice, and redemption. What do you think? Has Diddy's high-profile status influenced how he's been treated within the criminal justice system? Will his time in the Metropolitan Detention Center forever alter his public image and legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates and insights on this developing story. Stay tuned for more celebrity news and exclusive content. Until next time.